Welcome to WEBN General News. I'm Daniel Cordova.
And I'm Sam Lawrence. Let's get right into today's top stories.
Pennsylvania's weather forecasting groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, predicts 6 more weeks of winter after he saw its shadow early this morning.
That there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
Thousands gathered in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania for the 140th celebration of seeing the famous groundhog deliver his annual weather forecast. The National Centers for Environmental Information remained skeptic of the furry meteorologist's weather prediction ability. They concluded that his predictions have been right only 40% of the time within the last decade.
After months of diplomatic tensions, the United States is agreeing to a diplomatic deal with India, saying it will drop tariffs once India stops purchasing Russian oil. Today, those tariffs were lowered from 25% to 18%. President Donald Trump says this trade deal was reached after India's Prime Minister agreed to, quote, stop buying Russian oil and buy more from the United States and potentially Venezuela.
The Kraft Family Blood Donor Center is facing a critical blood shortage. The center, which is located at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute at Brigham Women's Hospital, is experiencing pressure due to the national collection shortage. Care for patients with cancer and other serious illnesses is being threatened. Hospital officials say platelets found in blood are especially needed as they can't be manufactured and only last for 5 days. For more information on how to donate blood, go to the Brigham and Women's Hospital website.
Hundreds of demonstrators gathered on the Boston Commons Saturday to protest ICE operations in Minneapolis. Organizers gathered near the State House, holding signs with different messages, including hands off our immigrant neighbors and ICE out everywhere. A band also played for protesters in the afternoon. Just one day before, another large crowd gathered outside the Boston Public Library to protest. Governor Maura Healey is proposing an executive order to limit ICE operations in Massachusetts.
With more news and politics, let's hear from our politics correspondent, Lorena Rivera.
Thank you, Sam and Daniel. The partial government shutdown will continue this week until a government funding package comes up for a vote in a few days. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he's relying on help from President Trump to ensure passage as he faces challenges of Democrats refusing to vote on the issue. Democrats are asking for federal immigration agents to unmask and identify themselves amid other changes. President Donald Trump faces a growing cultural revolt against his immigration crackdown, days after the death of ICU nurse Alex Preddy. The backlash has spread across business, sports, and entertainment world, prompting messages from several big names across the industries. Trump supporter and podcast host Joe Rogan took the internet to say that he sympathized with the concerns surrounding the tactics of immigration agents. And Liam Conejo Ramos, the 5-year-old boy who got taken into custody by ICE, has returned home in Minnesota with his father. The pair had spuriously been taken into custody upon returning home from Leon's preschool on January 20. Conejo and his dad entered the country in 2024 after booking an appointment through the CBP One app, an app set up during Biden's administration to reduce illegal border crossing into the United States. That's all for the political news I have for you today. Back to you both at the desk.
Coming up, with the release of more Epstein files, find out what additional information were in those documents.
And after the death of Catherine O'Hara, more on the legacy she left behind.
It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Honey, what I think you need is a
Welcome back to General News.
The Department of Justice released 3 million more Epstein files on Friday. The newly released files include documents involving Epstein's friendship with Britain's former Prince Andrew, who was stripped of his royal title last year due to his association with Epstein. Epstein also communicated with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon, billionaire Elon Musk, and New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch. The files also reveal the testimony of a former Epstein employee who claims he had to clean Epstein's bedroom after his frequent massages with young girls.
A Democrat has flipped a reliably Republican Texas state Senate seat in a stunning election upset.
This isn't red versus blue. This is right versus wrong. This is about public school funding. This is about helping working folks. This is about lowering costs. This is about everyday working folks.
Taylor Ramett defeated Republican Lee Wambsgans in a Fort Worth area district that President Donald Trump won by 17 points in 2024. Ramett, a labor union leader and Air Force veteran, won by more than 14 points with nearly all votes counted. Ramett will serve until January.
The supreme leader of Iran is warning that any U.S. attack will lead to a regional war in the Middle East. President Trump reacted today.
We have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
President Donald Trump previously threatened to strike the Islamic Republic for their crackdown on protests in Tehran. The protests began in December after the country faced an economic collapse. The government has arrested thousands of citizens since the demonstrations began, and protesters are being scheduled for execution. Iran's leader is referring to the nationwide protests as a coup. It is unclear whether Trump will use force, but he has deployed the USS Abraham Lincoln and other warships in the Arabian Sea.
A documentary about First Lady Melania Trump is opening strong at the box office, despite harsh reviews from critics. The documentary brought in an estimated $7 million in its opening weekend. While some reviewers called the documentary overly praising, audience response was positive, earning it an A cinema score. The film showcases the 20 days leading up to President Trump's return to the White House and was released in nearly 1,800 theaters.
With more on entertainment, let's hear from our entertainment correspondent, Anthony Ciano. Anthony?
Thank you, Sam. Traitors castmates Lisa Rinna and Colton Underwood go head-to-head both on social media and in the castle. The Bachelor's Underwood spearheaded the elimination of housewife Lisa Rinna from the show in belief that she was a traitor. The two had tension in the castle, going back and forth for several episodes of the show. Following her elimination, Rinna took to social media, stating, "Let's talk about you being a stalker," referring to Underwood's past ex-girlfriend's restraining order against him. With Puerto Rico's Bad Bunny scoring Album of the Year leading up to Super Bowl 60, other winners scored big as well. Best New Artist went to 26-year-old Olivia Dean. As for Song of the Year, Billie Eilish and her song Wildflower took home the award. Movie and musical fans go wild, with Wicked's Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande taking home the award for Best Pop Duo with their song Defying Gravity. The 68th Grammys were hosted by comedian and writer Trevor Noah for his 6th and final time. As Catherine O'Hara passes away, a legacy of iconic movies and television is left behind. For movies, Beetlejuice, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and of course Home Alone tend to be the first you think of when you consider O'Hara. For TV, shows like Schitt's Creek might come to mind. A talented and committed actress, O'Hara worked significantly hard every year of her life, even until her passing, most recently starring in the 2025 TV shows The Studio and The Last of Us. But her favorite role, a mother, where she leaves behind 2 kids and a husband. That's all for entertainment news. Back to you both at the desk.
Coming up, as the Grammys conclude, we have information about one of the night's biggest winners.
And with college basketball season underway, UConn's women's team makes a statement.
Americans and Pacific Islanders are on the rise.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer. In terms of hate crimes, I think there is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Welcome back. Bad Bunny made history at last night's Grammy Awards. The Puerto Rican artist won Album of the Year for Debí Tirar Más Fotos. This is the first Spanish-language album to ever win the award. Bad Bunny also won the award for Best Música Urbana Album. In his acceptance speech, he spoke out against ICE operations in the United States. He also urged anti-ICE protesters to lead with love instead of hate. Bad Bunny will headline the Super Bowl halftime show next Sunday.
Number 1 UConn turned a close game into a blowout this Sunday against number 15 Tennessee. The Huskies broke a halftime tie with a dominant second half, pulling away for a 96-66 win at home. With the victory, UConn goes up to a 23-0 lead and extended its winning streak to 39 games. Azzi Fudd led the way with 27 points as the Huskies shot nearly 60% from the field.
Carlos Alcaraz won the Australian Open against 10-time winner Novak Djokovic over the weekend. At just 22 years old, Alcaraz is officially the youngest man to ever complete a career Grand Slam. This means he's won every major title in tennis. Alcaraz only began his career 6 years ago, but he has already defeated Djokovic 5 times out of their 10 professional meetings. At the Australian Open, Djokovic quickly took the first set, but Alcaraz struck back and won the next 3 sets, winning the tournament.
With more in sports news, let's hear from our sports correspondent, Daniel Lipoff. Daniel?
And off to Santa Clara we go. The New England Patriots held a Super Bowl send-off rally at Gillette over the weekend. The free event featured live performances from the Dropkick Murphys, the Patriots cheerleaders, and more. There were even appearances from owner Robert Kraft, coach Mike Vrabel, and players like Drake May, Matt Collins, and Stephon Diggs. The negative 10 degrees feel-like temperature didn't stop the thousands of faithful to fill up the stadium and help send off the Patriots to Super Bowl 60. Drake May be? There's been some speculation recently regarding Drake May's condition. Right now, he's listed as questionable for the Super Bowl for an illness and a shoulder injury. May participated on practice on Thursday, January 29th, but his reps were limited for the first time this season. Coach Vrabel is confident in his QB1, though, as when asked about his condition, Vrabel said that he was, quote, fine. The Pats aren't scheduled to practice until Wednesday, and if May still isn't out there by then, that's when the concern might start ramping up. The Las Vegas Raiders are expected to hire Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak after the Super Bowl. Once the deal is finalized, Kubiak is set to become the 5th head coach of the franchise since 2021. The Raiders recently fired former coach Pete Carroll after a disappointing 3-14 season, including a 10-game losing streak. Clint Kubiak helped the Seahawks record the most wins in a regular season in franchise history as the ringleader of one of the most efficient offenses in the NFL. That's all I've got for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
One Massachusetts town may be making a Super Bowl statement. Officials in Maynard are voting to temporarily change the town's name to Maynard in honor of Patriots quarterback Drake May. The change would take place on February 8th, the day of the Super Bowl, as the Patriots face the Seattle Seahawks. Town leaders hope the name brings change and some extra good luck. That's all we have for tonight's general news.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our socials. We'll see you next time.